Today's episode of the Mind Sculptors podcast is brought to you by Dragon Shield. From their legendary matte sleeves to their striking art designs, Dragon Shield's 25 years of expertise ensures your cards remain flawless game after game. Visit the link in the description to outfit your collection and help support the continued refinement of our show. This episode is also made possible through the gracious support of our Patreon members. If you wish to join this esteemed group, simply visit patreon.com/The Mind Sculptors and become part of the SCULPTY family today. And of course, if you prefer a simpler gesture, we invite you to subscribe, leave a like, and comment on YouTube, or leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts as a most fitting offering to the ever-watchful algorithm Jesus.
I gotta say, this is not a sponsored segment, so I gotta say, a few months ago, I started doing hymns for my hair, and they said, like, I thought there was gonna be like pills or something, and they sent me just like a spray that I just like squirt on, like in certain places once a day, and I thought it wasn't going to work because that feels real like, Christmas landy, that it's just like, spray this onto your hair once a day and in 6 months you'll see results. But no, it fucking works. I was actually talking about this with some folks the other day. I was on Keeps for a bit, like I just because I had like a bald patch that I was getting at like 26, and then just being on it for a couple of years like made my hair growth come back, and also not poisoning my body anymore helped a lot too. When I found out that I was allergic to gluten, that probably helps. Yeah. Not constantly putting your body in a state of pain definitely helps. But the medication and stuff like that does help. So people are worried about that stuff. We have science nowadays. It's pretty cool. It's wild. I really I was just like super skeptical about it, and then it was like a couple weeks ago, I looked in the mirror and I was like, my hair doesn't look as thin as it used to anymore. And it's like, it's something, it's interesting. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It feels like it shouldn't be like a real thing, but it works. So, thanks Hims, I guess. Just secret sponsor of the Mind Sculptors. Hims, if you want to sponsor the Mind Sculptors, I mean, I'll take a Hims sponsorship, I guess.
I'll take them.
Welcome everybody to the show. I'm Cal.
I'm Ian.
It's been a few weeks, but we are back at it again. We did record an episode last week, but it did not. When I put it on the cutting room table, I left it there because when I tried to edit it together. Because we did like a live brew, which those can always be tricky. They either work really well or they are a swing and a miss. And that one, and the miss was not the deck itself. I mean, the deck was like fine or whatever. Like I don't have strong opinions on the deck that we built. The actual content was a lot of us not saying anything for a lot of time. And then what we were saying was like not that entertaining. So I just decided to let that one sit in my hard drive.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, what have you been up to these past couple of weeks? We've had some tournaments going on. You've been out and about doing some stuff.
Yeah. I had 2 tournaments and a couple small tournaments, and then a medium to larger tournament. One was sadly the bigger one was one of my just kind of like most unlucky tournaments in a long time, and I hate to blame luck, but like 130 person tournament, got stuck in a 3-pod behind Rogsai with no other blue decks in the pod.
Oh no.
Yeah. Game 5, my last win-in attempt, I mulled in 4th seat to a hand that was like Mystic Remora and 1 land, and then didn't see a land for 8 draws, and then Demonic Consultation for a land, and it was the bottom 3 cards of my deck. And I checked too to see if I was just being greedy, and that would have paid off, and there were 9 more non-lands on the top of my deck, so it didn't matter either way. So it was one of those tournaments. So hoping that this weekend feels like an emotional and physical palate cleanser, which is kind of a bummer too, because I was like, I kind of was really believing in the Spider-Man deck, and obviously I came in second the smaller tournament with it, so like it definitely felt like a deck I think is real.
I like the deck. For the people who are unaware, we're talking about the Superior Spider-Man deck that you brewed.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it has legs.
Mm-hmm. It does. That tournament, just like as I said, everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. Yeah, absolutely.
I have been, just logging those Crusader Kings hours. No, last night we went up to Cincinnati and we saw John Mulaney at Taft Theater.
Oh, fun!
It was really fun. Saw his new set, which was maybe the longest I think he's ever done.
Okay, cool.
It was close to 2 hours.
Okay.
Which is a long time for a stand-up set. Like that's a long stand-up set, but
it's probably because he's no longer tweaking mid-set.
Yeah, well, it was very good. It was very funny.
Oh yeah.
So I am excited to see it when it comes out on Netflix. But
fuck yeah, that's awesome. Good bang for your buck too, right? If it's the long.
Oh yeah,
the same price, right?
I love, and I've gotten to see John Mulaney a couple times live.
Yeah.
We went and saw him in Omaha when he like the first tour after he was like out of recovery.
Yeah.
And he was phenomenal. It was very funny. And the first time I saw him was before I even met my wife, but I saw him on the Comeback Kid tour.
Wow.
Back when so I saw the Bill Clinton bit before it even made Netflix.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's been my favorite comedian for a very long time. So that was a really cool. That was my birthday gift.
It was so funny too. You said that, and I was like, "Wow, I guess you haven't known Cassidy as long as I thought you did." And then I realized how old that special is, and I felt my hair is gray.
Yeah,
mid thought, because I remember watching that with my ex in college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that came out in 2015. I met my wife in 2016. So
yeah, yeah. Anyways,
that was a while ago, but yeah, had a good time last night up in Cincinnati. So was a great time. But anyway, we're here to talk about the Turtles, specifically the Ninja Turtles,
specifically teenage. I gotta say, I know it's the name. They don't look like teenagers to me. They kind of give me like adult men who are turtles.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
But that doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
Adult men, middle-aged turtles. Yeah, you're right.
Middle-aged mutant ninja turtle.
Fighting crime and dealing with the 401k.
Worrying about retirement.
But they still love pizza, but now it gives them heartburn. Oh,
oh, that's great. God, yeah, no, I this has been an interesting set. This has been a weirdly controversial set. I am fine with it. I don't have strong opinions about it. It seems fine.
I think it's for some people, it is the psychological straw, that broke the camel's back. But like, I don't know, everybody. You're fine.
Guys, how is this different than like Doctor Who?
Yeah.
It seems just as silly as Doctor Who to me. just be real with you. And honestly, I think the aesthetic, people aren't gonna like this.
Uh-oh.
Outside of the pizza stuff, I think the aesthetic of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles matches the vibe of Magic mostly really well. Because
I
I
don't know
feel
if you got
like
me on that one. I don't know if I'm with you.
it feels like something that I would see on Kamigawa. A lot of these cards feel like they could be Kamigawa cards. Like set on that plane. And that's how I feel about it. I think some of the art in this set like rules. I also think some of the art in this set
that too. Yeah.
is really cringy. But like I think that about most Magic sets. So like it doesn't feel significantly different. But like I think one of the cards, we're not going to talk about it today, but I do want to talk about it just in that this is maybe my favorite art from the set is Michelangelo's Technique. Has one of the coolest arts in the whole set. I think it looks so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would get a poster of that. Like a print of that in a heartbeat. It looks sweet.
I think also like, people were joking about like all the proxy artists being up in arms about the 8-bit art, but like 8-bit art looks fucking cool. Like I think it is a great choice for a set like this, and I think it looks really awesome, right? And
I don't agree with you on that, but
you don't like 8-bit art? Oh,
no,
Were you not a Game Boyer? Is that
No, it's not that. It's just it has such. It's because I worked at GameStop in the like mid 2010s.
Yeah.
And so like some of that stuff, like I have seen, like it's like every indie game for like 15 years was pixel art, and I was just like, okay, guys, yep, you got it. And it was like after the Binding of Isaac Clone 14 that it kind of wore thin.
Sure.
So like that's my thing. It's the same thing with like The Walking Dead for me, where like zombie stuff I used to think was cool. And then I worked at GameStop, and then it stopped being cool because it was just in my face all the time for like 5 years.
So what I'm hearing is you should just not work at GameStop.
Yeah, that's probably, don't work at GameStop. Don't work at Best Buy. It'll ruin nerd stuff for you.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's the best advice I could give you.
That way I also feel about working in, like nerd conventions. Like it's like, you really never look at them the same way.
Yeah. Don't make your hobby your job, kids, because you will learn to hate your hobby.
Roro.
Anyhow, our job today is to talk about Magic the Gathering.
That was good.
Yeah, thank you. I felt really good about that one.
That's top 10 hardest I've laughed on this podcast by far, for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad I could get you with that. So let's take a look at some of these commanders. I'm going to start us off here in our document, and we're going all over the place on this document because some of these cards we got to talk about together and they don't match up really well. Also, we're going to start off here.
Refresh it just to make sure that we're on the same page.
I'll just give it another refresh right here.
I do love that you mumbled so hard through that there is no clean cut, and it does have to stay.
No, there's no clean cut. I just gave you the full RFK just right there. Anyway, we're going to start off here. We're going to look at these partner commanders that are the character select. So it's partner. You can have two of these commanders if they both have the character select ability. Mm-hmm. Works very much like the Friends Forever mechanic.
Yep.
The first one we're looking at here is Leonardo the Balanced. This is a 3/3 mutant ninja turtle. We're going to say that a lot today. That costs 3 generic and a white. And it says whenever a token you control enters, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Do this only once each turn. And then for 5 colors, so you can pay Wooburg, Creatures you control gain menace, trample, and lifelink until end of turn. So I think the big appeal here, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but is that this is a partner that gives you 5 colors.
Yeah, so I think like with all the character selects, it is going to be the most logical choice to have Leonardo plus one of the other pairings. And essentially it's like, okay, which flavor of 5 color do you want to have with Leonardo? I will say, though, I've been sort of messing around with these character select combinations throughout the past week. And I don't have anything on that I'm ready to like lock in and bring to a tournament. I was thinking about it for this weekend, but it's, for once I'm showing patience and waiting. But I do think the amount of in 5 color passive token generation is something to really consider, because
it's a non-zero amount of stuff, right?
Like, between Tataru, Lotho, Smothering Tithe, the Cabbage Merchant, Orcish Bowmasters, right? Like there's actually like a
card we're going to talk about today, Ninja Pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Ninja Pizza. I think there's actually quite a lot of interesting potential essentially for this type of thing. So I'm actually very interested in how that's going to look,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm somewhat ambitious about the potential here for this type of thing.
So this is what it looks like as a partner. Let's look at some of the cards that can go with it. So let's look at the first of these character select cards. This is April O'Neil, live on the scene. This is a 2/1 human detective that costs a generic and a blue, and says whenever a mutant, ninja, or turtle you control enters, investigate. That is not a bad ability.
Yes.
I mean, just broadly, right? Like, I feel like that ability I could see not just as a commander, but also in like the 99 of like a Euro deck, right? Like, I think there is absolutely something there as far as what it could do outside of just being a commander.
So April's the one that I'm the most like hypothetically ambitious for. When I didn't realize April was the thing, because I was looking at all the turtles that had the full art, and then I realized April existed, and I realized that her appeal is infinite ETBs, because if you have infinite ETBs, you are partnering her with a turtle, right?
Right.
So if you have infinite ETBs, you make infinite mana. You then proceed to play your other turtle infinitely, right? So if you have an Emil combo, a Hullbreaker Horror combo, something of that nature, right? Now she becomes the outlet for it, because, for example, if you're playing Leonardo, which I think is the pragmatic decision here, right? You're essentially bouncing and replaying Leonardo over and over again, making infinite clues, and then able to draw through your deck, right? So that was the partner pairing that I was specifically working with. And the question is like, is that, generic 5 color pairing going to be worth it in that capacity, right? Because there's other 5 color outlet commanders and things like that exist, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think what it will come down to is like, what is the construction of your deck, honestly?
Yeah.
Because like, if you're the construction of your deck works in a way where you will get mileage out of this ability, then I think it's probably fine. Versus, I don't know, like a Kenrith or something like that, right?
Right. And one thing I will say that, like, because I think people are going to kind of maybe like squint at this a little bit and be like, yeah, you sure? And I think the actual appeal here is very specifically the fact that April is a 2-mana commander, right? So she's turning on your Mox Ambers, your Fierce Guardianships, your Deflecting Swats, your Mox, I said Mox Ambers already, pardon me, but your Flare of Denials too, right? And so like that to me is like actually semi-decent justification of like, why is this pairing even worth considering? Is like, okay, it's an infinite mana if you have infinite flicker outlet, on top of the fact that, yes, here we have this ability to just have this commander come out early. And essentially, like, the only gripe I have with it is that when I was messing around with the deck a little bit and coming up with my first iterations, it was like, yeah, but it does kind of suck to play a 2-drop that has no text on it. But we were also all looking at Ezio as a 5-color commander for this exact purpose too, right?
Yeah.
And so
I mean, like, we did the whole thing with the fucking pirate bird, right? Like
Francisco. Yeah.
With like Francisco. Like I've seen worse 2-mana commanders.
Right. And it's the fact that it's a 2-mana commander that is like semi-useless, but at the same time, it's not. And also interestingly too, right, because of her text, as soon as you play Leonardo, guess what? She makes a clue token, which immediately anthems your board, right? So like worst case scenario, you have your 2 commanders out and the 2 of them together immediately anthem your board and give you a clue token to draw, right? So like it's actually not bad, right? It's very interesting in that capacity. And I think it's, there's definitely a very solid amount of reasoning to say like, why do you play this? Honestly, my biggest gripe is that like the best combos we have for the 5-color space are like Emil Flicker stuff, which don't really feel very clean in 5-color. They don't feel awful. They don't feel unplayable by any means, but it definitely feels clunkier than it should, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's the thing that we've talked about in the past that 5-color struggles with is like, at what point is this just a pile of staples?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that's like the issue 5-color will kind of always have.
Right. And I think that there might be enough passive token generators that it actually feels like, well, yes, this is a 5-color pile, but it's 5-color. You can play Breach, you can play infinite mana combos, you can play, you know, you can even go up to ad nauseum. I've definitely seen that can happen. It gets a little bit weird in that sense, but I don't think it's insane. You can play like your mid-range ad nauseums. And what's also nice too is that if you do sort of mess around in that space at the end of the day, like it does give you that Mox Amber, like I mentioned. Like there's a lot of like actual real benefits here. And so like I think it's far from deterministically like, oh, just worse than other things that exist. Like I think that there's actually some real viability there. And having that combat plan, I genuinely do think is real, right? I think people might be sleeping on that sort of narrative there, but you do need to go wide a little bit, right? So as I mentioned, like Bowmasters especially, also like not to mention the synergies with Agatha's Soul Cauldron, right? If you start to like +1 your entire board state. So I think there's definitely some really cool stuff there, but it's one of those decks where it's like, I had my first version. I realized it's not good as just generic soup. It needs to be soup plus synergy. Yeah. And so the plus synergy side, I think, is going to take a little bit of work to discover how it really gets there. I know I'm going on a big rant about this commander in particular, but it's because I spent a lot of time working on it this week.
The next of these character select partners we're going to talk about is Michelangelo the Heart. This is a 2/1 mutant ninja turtle that costs a generic and a green, has trample, and raid the fridge. At the beginning of your second main phase, if you attack to this turn, it's in parentheses, guys. It's implied that I say it under my breath.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your second main phase, if you attack to this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and create a food token.
Yeah.
Of these 2 mana, like partner character select things, this is probably my favorite.
Interesting. Okay.
I think that I don't want to call it like calling it a Timna is incredibly hyperbolic, and that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're gonna have to walk a big way back from that one.
But when I say that it has like similarities to Timna, it is a partner that encourages you to attack for value in your second main phase. Like they are. So the play patterns around them are going to look similar.
Okay.
Right? Like when you sit down and play, they are going to function very similarly in terms of how you as a player approach playing them out.
Okay. Yeah.
People might say I'm crazy, but like the point that I'm getting here is not the actual mechanic of you drawing cards or doing the thing. It's the pattern of you are going to play at a certain tempo to get a Timna out or to get a Michelangelo out, and you're going to want a certain type of creature in your deck that works with that strategy. Yeah. Sure. And so I think that this is really interesting. One, because I mean, we're going to see this coming up. I mean, I almost want to talk about the card now because I feel like everything that I love about this card almost comes down to 2 cards. One is Cabbage Merchant. The other is Ninja Pizza. And I think that like those 2 cards, like this proliferation of food, make mana cards,
we have
make me look at Myling.
We have cards like that. Yeah. No, for sure. And that's definitely like real, right? For
and that's like one of the things about it that like is why I look at this and go, I think this is my favorite of these, because of the fact that I feel like now there's just so much support for food to be a like functional thing.
Yeah. And also if you're taking it once again in a +1 counters beatdown direction, then obviously Michelangelo is the cleanest way to curve into Leonardo for that function, right?
Right.
You lose the infinite mana outlet, but what you do gain is consistent combat pressure and, as you mentioned, X amount of synergy, right?
I mean, it again, I don't like, it feels like it is adjacent to like a Malcolm in that regard. And that Malcolm has that same, like, you attack, you create a sort of thing. It's not as like the ceiling of it is different
than Timna, for sure.
Yeah. It is, the ceiling of Malcolm is like significantly higher, right? Because there's so many fucking ways. The reason I compare it to Timna is because it's capped at that main phase piece. Whereas Malcolm is like, bro, if you can figure out how to deal damage, go, right?
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
And so that's where I think that's a little bit different there. But like the key here being is that you're getting the benefit of that like kind of passive, you know, it's not straightforwardly mana generation, but I feel like in this day and age, food tokens are really easy to turn into mana.
I mean, we have Academy Manufactor, we have all the other cards that we just mentioned, right? Like, and I feel like this would be disingenuous without mentioning Academy Manufactor because
my god, that'd be incredible with me, right? It'd be absolutely insane. So like that is what I like about this card. I'm and to be completely frank with you, like I'm not like in love with any of these cards.
Yeah,
but it's like of these character select cards I look at and I go, if I'm going to play two of these together, this is the one that feels like the hey guys, shocker, Cal likes generic value engines.
Sure.
Cal likes a good mid-range deck, more at 11.
Dun, 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 dun.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on this card. Like that's what I like about it.
And I feel like I've chimed in enough here where it's like, I see where you're coming from. I don't think I'm as high on it as you are because I see foods as maybe being a little more capped than I think you do. But I mean, I don't hate your reasoning for any of this stuff, right? Like the thing is with all of these, and we're going to continue talking about these because God, I just wish fucking mutagen tokens were better because they're so bad.
Fucking anything? Yeah.
They do nothing. They're so bad. Or at least like, you know, if they're going to be sorcery speed and put counters on things, at least make them free, right? Because they cost 1 mana to do, right? Unless I'm crazy.
Yeah, no, they cost 1 mana.
It's just like what an awful token. It sucks too because there's so many like potentials here, right? Like or you know have like if Donatello made creature artifact tokens, like oh my god, like anyways, we'll talk about that all in a second.
I mean, if I was playing Michelangelo as a deck, which now I kind of want to brew this because the more I think about it, the more interested I am in it.
Yeah.
I think I would play like the full suite of like Cabbage Merchant, Ninja Pizza.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
Urza,
like if you're gonna choose this commander, you're going all in, right?
Like I feel like Urza fits into this deck really well.
Yep.
Like I think you just like go all in on that effect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then you're just gonna have like a bunch of passive token generation anyway. And I think that goes really well with what Leonardo's doing. So
yeah, I completely agree.
And then I don't know what your win con just is like. Hi, I am in 5 colors. Which of my efficient packages do I want to use to win, right?
So exactly. And it doesn't scale in the way that like maybe all of these decks want to, but also like if you are looking for kind of like a 5 color token stacks thing, like this does it, you know, like it really does. I don't know that that's like right where you want to be in 5 color at the current moment, but I don't. It's like it's not crazy, right? And like
I think like a decent grindy mid range deck would you could build out of this. Like I think that there is some room for that.
I also do really love like I know this isn't like exactly what we're talking about because we're not talking about Leonardo, but like like Leonardo plus and we are because all of these are really
all of these are implied we're talking about with Leonardo.
Yeah, exactly. But like Leonardo plus Voice of Victory is such a funny combo to me. Like you know like stuff like that is like where I think this actually has legs. You know right?
Yeah.
Like right.
That's funny. That's really funny. I didn't. Even think about
it gets
that, but
kind of messed up. You know like it really does.
God, Voice of Victory is such a fucking stupid magic card.
What
Every time I read that card, I'm like, why?
What a terrible design mistake.
Seriously. Next card here on our list is the next of these character select cards. This is Splinter the Mentor. This is a 2/2 mutant ninja rat that costs a generic and a black, has menace, and says whenever Splinter or another non-token creature you control leaves the battlefield, create a mutagen token. And if you don't know what mutagen tokens do, the long and short of it is like fucking nothing. But let me pull up exactly what they do, just so we are all on the same page. The mutagen token is for 1 colorless mana. You can tap, sacrifice this token, and put a +1/+1 counter on target creature at sorcery speed. That's the other part about them. Whereas if it wasn't sorcery speed capped, I would still hate them.
Yeah.
Right? They'd still be terrible.
Yeah.
But like they wouldn't feel
maybe like 10% less terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be like just slightly more like I could make a like really convoluted argument to myself to justify them, right?
Yeah.
Like I could find a justification for them. Like, I could do combat tricks, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you can't even fucking do that with them. So they're just fucking useless.
Yeah. What I will say about, and I guess I didn't really say this earlier, but it is worth noting too that if you are doing like infinite flicker, infinite bounce stuff with your commanders, by the way, if you're doing Splinter or April, because Splinter leaving makes a token, right? Which would then trigger a hypothetical Leonardo, right? So you just have to like flicker those two back and forth. But the nice part is if you do go down that avenue, I did forget to say that like if you reset Leonardo every time, it's once per turn gets reset.
Right.
So you, technically speaking, can infinitely anthem your creatures, even if you don't have like a clean outlet in the command zone for any of these combos. And then you can also use his ability to give, sadly it doesn't give haste. If it gave haste, then it would be like insane, right?
Yeah.
For what you're trying to do for it. But it does give menace, trample, lifelink. So you have any unsummoning sick creatures, then all of a sudden it's infinite power and trample and lifelink, right? So you just go cool, blonk somebody out of the game, right? Or multiple people, you know.
Also, just to go back to this set kind of feels like it could just be a Kamigawa set to some extent. How many rat ninjas have we seen over the years, right? Like that's what I mean about this, where like this set to me doesn't feel as like out of left field as like Fallout or Doctor Who did, where those or even like the fucking Walking Dead, right? Where like those or I think a better example of this is like Stranger Things, where like those are IPs that feel like not adjacent to Magic.
Sure.
And this, at least I can like get my head around it, right? Like the vibe is where I want it to be.
Yeah.
Is it silly? Yes, because it's the TMNT, but I don't care.
Let's go over the benefits of Splinter. Yeah.
Let's look at Splinter here.
So there's like two that I've heard. One, it's black. Mox Amber for black, much better in 5 color if you're going fast, right?
Very.
Sure. For turbo stuff, right? I'm sort of powering through that point, but it is real, right? That was one of the big things with Ezio, right? The second one is, as I mentioned, if you do have infinite flicker, infinite bounce, like you can do the Leonardo thing. Yeah. But the actual second one is that, and this is from, you know, I when someone first explained this to me, I was a little bit like, nah, I don't think this is real, but it's worth mentioning. Is that if you are doing breach grinding station stuff and you have any of your 0-drop artifact creatures, it does double the mill there because it makes a mutagen every time those, like, so if you're using an Ornithopter or a Memnite or something like if you're going hyper fast with those, it gets you essentially double the amount of untaps with the grinding station. Which I don't think is really anything, but it's like kind of cute, you know?
But it's only if you sacrifice a non-creature or a non-token creature.
Right. So they would have to be like an Ornithopter or a Phyrexian Walker or like something like that, right?
Yeah, so it doesn't actually double.
Well, it leaves them with a mutagen, right? So the grinding station will have twice as many things.
Right, but like my point being there is that assumes that your grinding station loop is always going to have a creature to start that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
why I'm like, I don't even buy that it's.
No, I agree. Yeah.
I think
need to be playing like a bunch of dorky little shitters, right? Like for that to work.
And then you're playing fucking Mim Knight in your 5-color deck. Good job.
Right. Which, like, something blue farm list nowadays playing Mim Knight, something, right? But like,
but okay. That to me makes more sense to some degree because it like turns on certain things in a deck that has like commanders that are like a bit more expensive to turn on things like Culling the Weak and whatever.
Right. Well, that's
this the whole reason you're wanting to play this for 5-color is that it is a cheap commander.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. And then you have to fill your deck with like other cheap stuff in order to get that benefit from it. Yeah. Like that doesn't seem great to me.
I think if you look at it as the argument is this would most likely be the fastest 5-color hypothetical potential we have, then it does feed into that pattern, right? Like it's doing stuff the deck already wants to do. And I'm not saying it's sexy, it's ugly a little bit, right? But like it does stuff that the deck wants to do, right? Like that's really the appeal of it. And as I said, it was not an argument I really believed in, but it is something to mention.
Right? And I will say, I do feel like Leonardo and Splinter have more relevant text than Ezio does, right? Like I will at least give them credit that like those two cards together, if you're doing the like 5-color turbo, I want the black to turn on my Mox Amber. Like that argument to me at least feels fine.
Yep.
Because like they at least have some text on them where like Ezio does
diddly,
literally nothing.
Yeah, like, and before people start jumping in the comments, because I know they're gonna be like, but what about Luris? Like a 6-mana Luris is not worth it. Please stop trying to make that happen. Shout out to Jalen who actually has made that work in the past, but I think you're a special butterfly and you're a good player, and that's why you've gotten away with it.
Gretchen, stop trying to make Luris happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I feel about it.
Listen, when it only cost 3 mana, you could maybe convince me that the Luris.
Like that, and that's the thing, right? Like before the companion rule change, like I think there was a world where like some of these 2 mana commanders, like I could absolutely see that argument being made.
Exactly.
In the year of our Lord 2026, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's look at the next of these character select cards. This is Donatello the Brains.
Yeah.
This is a 2/4 mutant ninja turtle that costs 2 generic and a blue, and says if 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a mutagen token are created instead.
This one, I'm not gonna lie, pissed me off.
That is so fucking offensive.
Well, do you know why? It's because it's worded like a bunch of other combo cards.
It sure is.
But it doesn't fucking do him.
It does nothing.
Like
for the record, we're talking about this because it makes both of us angry.
Because it's so close to like, okay, yeah, it's like, you think about like all the War and Soul Trader combos, but they need to be artifact creature tokens. They cannot be, and they're not foods. So they don't have any of the combos that Pippin has. They're not like the mutagen token. And this is where I like went off about mutagens earlier. Mutagens are so bad that this card that has inherently broken lines of text because it's every other card.
Dude, imagine if it was a map token. It would be infinitely better.
Yes, like or like, any of the manufacturer tokens, right? Like any of the manufacturer tokens, and it would have been actually really good, right?
So
but because it's so not, it's like,
it's 3 mana. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, this one I'm not gonna lie. This one pissed me off pretty badly.
Yeah, no, it actively pisses me off. That is so offensive. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting that to piss me off as much as it did. Yeah. But man, that really rustled my jimmies. And the last of the character select partners being Raphael the Muscle. This is a 4/4 mutant ninja turtle that costs 4 generic and a red. And it says double all damage that creatures you control with counters on them would deal. And when Raph enters, create a mutagen token.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to go 5-color beatdowns with this deck, this is obviously the best one because you go Leonardo on 4, you play Raph on 5, Mutagen token enters, you anthem all your team, they deal double damage that turn cycle. That's really all we need to talk about. I think it's a little better than Raspberry Fart Noise Dookie, but like yeah. We're 5 mana's a lot for that effect. It's 9 mana cumulative for your commanders is pretty tough, you know. The last one got me. Damn it, I was so close to not laughing. Shit.
I know you well enough to know that you respond to commitment to the bit.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my god.
We were both teenagers in from 2008 to 2012. We watched Family Guy.
We were both Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for sure.
Yeah. All right, we're out of the
actually,
partner.
I gotta go on a 2-second rant here.
Okay,
right?
2-second rant. Give me it.
We got the mutant creature type. We got the ninja creature type. We got the turtle creature type. But we didn't get teenagers. Come on, Watsy. Why are there no legendary
Well, it's because they know teenagers kill.
they took the teenagers scared though.
Yeah.
It's just too far.
Yeah,
like,
they just... It's because the drugs never work. And they're going to give you a smirk.
This is, I think, one of our most derailed episodes in a while.
It's fine.
All right, what's our next teen?
This is actually not a teen. This is full ass adult. This is Super Shredder, a 1/1 mutant ninja human that costs a generic and a black, has menace and says whenever another permanent leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Super Shredder. So Phoenix was into this as a commander.
Yep.
I'm not.
I kind of believe in it.
But you know my long storied history of not loving mono black commanders.
Yeah.
So give me the elevator pitch on this. Listen, I mean, I roughly get it, right? Yeah. Because I'm in the group chat, but like for the audience who have my same reservations.
Sure. Listen, is there a high mathematical likelihood that this commander is cope? Yes, absolutely. Let's get that part out of the way. If there is ever a commander that is going to succeed at doing this thing, this is it. What an efficient mana cost to be able to do this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially a Pox deck, right? Like, I think the best way to take it, right? If you play a card like Pox and you're like, all right, cool, everyone discard a card, sack a land, sack a creature, etc., right? Suddenly this is like a 7-power creature. And one of the dynamics that Phoenix did bring up that I believe is correct is the fact that if you kill someone, all of their permanents are considered to be leaving the battlefield when they die.
Yeah.
So that being said, you get that first kill in, and this is like a 20-power creature easily, right?
Yeah.
I do also think this is like old school. Like this feels like a very old school deck to me. I'm talking.
I was like, this feels like Legacy circa 2015.
Yeah, like I literally think we might be playing the card Smokestacks in this deck. Like I think that is the kind of card that this would be, right? And so like that is where I'm seeing this card. I think you're a deck that main decks a strip mine. I think you're playing a lot of like sacrificing opponents sacrifice creatures style stuff, right? And they sacrifice permanents and they do like really old school stacks, like the I would not like you to take any game actions, and I just need to invest in this one little shitter. And then you guys are screwed, right? Like it's just this one little dickhead who's just going to be like bonk, 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 right? Like like a shredder backed up with the bowmasters while also attacking your opponent's like mana base seems pretty messed up, right?
Yeah.
That's where I see it. Could it be absolute cope? Yes, totally. Am I ready to go and sleeve this up for a tournament? No. Do I think it's possible? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough.
Listen, man, it's mono black. Like I think like one of the best mono black commanders is like maybe playable at best. So like
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
As I said, if anything is going to be this thing, it's this guy, right?
It's super cool. This is gonna be a problem in standard.
Sure. Yeah.
Actually, it's probably gonna be a problem in multiple formats.
Probably.
But guys, if you want to know a really funny thing you can do with that, Fling is a card that you can play. And that's not even being that imaginative.
Yeah.
Next card here we're looking at is Jones Vigilante. This is a 4/3 human berserker that costs a generic into red and says when Casey Jones enters, draw 3 cards. At the beginning of your next upkeep, discard 3 cards at random. Yeah. So
yeah. Right?
I wish Jeweled Lotus was legal for this card because
for sure. Fair enough.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm like, I don't know. At the beginning of your next upkeep is the like wild line of text.
Yep.
Because that's like, if you have a way to do this multiple times.
Oh, I wonder, are there ways to do this multiple times? That'd be crazy.
Certainly not.
That's why I have this here.
Yeah.
Is because
I see where you're going. For the audience members who don't. What are we getting here?
Yeah, I mean the perfect card, and I honestly think like the perfect A+B for this commander is like Rionia, right? Like thinking about going like cool, Casey Jones, draw 3 cards, ritual, play Rionia, make 4 Casey Jones, draw 12. Like that is the deck, right? That is exactly it. It is, essentially how many Twin Flames are we willing to play that are 2 mana draw 3 cards, right? Like I'm expecting 1 turn with this little shithead. I'm playing Electro. I'm playing.
And I'm out of the game after that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It is 1 beautiful, glorious turn where you stick a Bergie and then you go, all right, cool. Next turn, untap Casey Jones, copy effect. You're probably playing fucking Ruby Medallion. Like this is the purest red storm deck that I think has ever existed in cEDH.
This is people love to say that like Godo is a glass cannon deck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it has nothing on how much of a glass cannon this is.
Yeah. Like this to me is like when I tell people that I'm like a mono red player, like this is my conversation. Is like that is 100%.
I'm either winning or losing this turn, guys.
yeah. Fully drop the ankle weight. Someone goes, "Are you winning?" And you go, "I don't know. I have no idea. My commander is a 3 mana to draw 3 that I'm going to try and do 1,000 fucking times. You tell me if I win the game." Right? That is 100% where I love this deck. Like I genuinely think that is exactly what I will be experiencing the joy of it. The genuine like biggest downside that I can see is the fact that like the twin flame effects really get worse as you go down card quality wise. Yeah. But that being said, right? Like think about like a couple of those cards like Devastating Onslaught that we just got from Duskmourn, where you can make like 2 copies of this. And it's like, I paid 3 mana into it, but now I'm like,
and to be fair, we've been getting more twin flame effects.
Yeah, exactly. We've been getting a lot more lately, right? And so like if it's going to work, I think it would be, as I mentioned, like you really need those cost reducers, right? Those the Bergie, maybe even Urabrask, maybe Electro, like all of those things that say
play them all.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a chance that it falls short? Absolutely. Do you lose to a Ristic Study? Most likely.
You lose to a really well-timed fucking Hydroblast, baby. Like
sure. No, but I genuinely think like the biggest downs, like this is one of those decks that will always work when Stacks is bad and will absolutely fall apart as soon as a Rule of Law hits the table, right? Now that being said, I will say you can fight into Ristic Studies because you have your blasts, you have things like that, right? You do have D-grids even, right? Vexing Baubles, all that kind of shit. So like there are things that do work with this commander. It's a Past in Flames commander. It's like as I mentioned, it is just absolutely no holds barred mono red
nuts to the wall.
Yeah, like but genuinely every single copy drawing 3 cards is real. There's a reason why VV does the thing when a Curiosity sticks, right? So like every single copy effect essentially turning into that is definitely far from bad, right? So I'm excited to mess around with this commander. I genuinely think it does have the potential to be a real deck. Will it be tier 1? Probably never. But will it be something that you could probably get away with in like a tier 2 space? Yeah, I think so. Genuinely. So I'm excited by this prospect for sure.
Mono red glass cannon. Name a more iconic duo.
I really do love the idea, though, of like going to your next turn when you fizzle and being like, all right, I've got to go discard 50 cards at random. Like,
how many cards do I have in my hand? 51. Yeah. Fuck.
I've only got 3. Damn. Okay. But yeah, no, genuinely, I do think it's real. So yeah. we'll see. We'll see.
Next card on our list here is Raph and Leo, Sibling Rivals. This is a 2/4 Mutant Ninja Turtle that costs 1 generic and 2 hybrid red-white mana. And it says whenever Raph and Leo attack, it's not Raph.
Hey, I said Ralph. I'm a turtle too, guys.
It's Raph and Leo.
Don't let me out that much.
He's
Get back in the stewards, Ralph.
He's the silver turtle. Whenever Raph and Leo attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap 1 or 2 target attacking creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. We talked about this a little bit in our group chat. There's an astonishingly low number of ways to break this, I feel like.
A low number?
Yeah. What were your feelings on this?
To me, I'm happy to admit that there's a level of like, I did something once, and so it kind of feels like that, and so I'm curious type of thing.
Okay.
This does give me Karlach vibes a little bit.
I thought that's where you were going with it.
Yeah, with the upside of being cheap, right? That's really the thing that I like about it. It does suck that it doesn't do the Karlach thing where it just says like whenever you attack, this happens, right? But Karlach's board never really got crazy, right? Like I would only have 3 or 4 creatures that I was attacking with in that deck in general, right? So just like getting that extra combat, maybe doing a little bit of like stacks and initiative creatures and like all that kind of stuff, like all those types of like essentially just like classic Boros beatdown stuff. Also, notably outside of the commander potential, I don't hate this in a Winota deck. I think it's actually pretty reasonable. Yeah, sure. The fact that it itself gives you 2 self-contained combats with Winota in general, right? It's
that's pretty hot.
Not that bad. So this card does feel like it has like multiple places where it's like, it's not sexy, but it gets the job done, kind of is how I would phrase it. Also, it's Delniable, but the Delny copy is a little weird because it doesn't untap everything, but it does like, it gives you 2 extra combats. So you essentially have to like pre-choose 2 other creatures that will attack on that next combat. Cause you do get the 2 combats, but you don't get the extra untaps right between combats. So like, that's kind of funky. But yeah, I don't know. I think that like it has enough text that doesn't suck that there is potential there. And there's enough good attack triggers in Boros specifically, which is one of the big appeals here. Like there's, attack, draw a card, attack, exile the top cards, rose the make a bunch of the junk tokens and make a bunch of mana off of it, right? So there's a bunch of different stuff that this can do, plus backed up by the best support color right now, pretty arguably. I think it's not the worst. As I mentioned, the biggest downside for me is the fact that it itself has to get in through combat and not just have combat in general.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know that I see the vision, but I'm glad that you do. Next card here is Splinter Radical Rat. This is a 2/4 Mutant Ninja Rat that costs 1 generic and 2 hybrid white-black. It says if an ability of a ninja creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. And also has an activated ability that costs a generic and blue and says target ninja can't be blocked this turn. So that's right, boys and girls. This is an Esper deck. Let's go. Yeah, that being said, what are your thoughts on this? I'm on it.
Yeah. I'm like middling, right? Essentially, it's to me what this says is like Yuriko is the best ninja payoff, right? Like we no one's doubting that, right?
Sure.
But there are enough comparable analogs where there are a bunch of very powerful ninja doublers that like could exist, right? And I could see a deck where Yuriko is in the 99, the other ninja that's blue-black, it hits, you draw a card. That one's in there. A couple of the other ones, the Prosperous Thief, right? I could very easily see a Esper deck with transitioning the ninjas to the 99 as value engines and taking more of a sidestep from the Yuriko specific plan, and also just, you know, at the end of the day, once again, I just went on a whole rant about how white is the best support color right now. I think that translates here, right? Like pretty aggressively. I really do. And I think giving up Yuriko in the command zone for having access to Ranger Captain, Silence, Voice of Victory, etc. Like, to me,
I mean, like full transparency. I think like from a colors position, like you are in one of the better positions, because like Esper is very well positioned right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And there's enough little dinguses that like, I think you could kind of get away with just having like a high value creature package that turns into ninjas and like, et cetera, right? So like, you know, is it, this would be something like, this is another one where it's like, I don't expect someone to show up with this week one and like take down a tournament with it, right? But like in 6 to 8 months where somebody's been tuning this for a while and says like, hey, there actually is an advantage to this versus a Yuriko style deck. I
will say, I do think that there probably is more potential in this than a Yuriko from the perspective, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
That like, I feel like the issue with Yuriko is it like encourages you to play these big mana spells that aren't going to be as relevant throughout a game.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about this before, but I mean, like there are cards that it plays, like what's the big 13 mana thing or whatever from
the Shadow of Destiny or whatever.
Yeah, Shadow of whatever. Like cards like that are functionally blank text, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
And I think if there is a world where like this gives you a reason to do the ninja stuff.
Yeah, in other
but play it in a more high quality environment, I guess.
Exactly. Also notably, it gives you access to Delny too, which if you've never had the luxury of playing Delny and Yuriko in the same deck, it's really not okay.
Well, and that's the other thing too, right? Is you can still play like Yuriko in the 99 of this. Because Yuriko's abilities, you can still ninjutsu Yuriko from your hand, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's what I thought. Next card. Donatello, Mutant Mechanic. This is a 3/5 Mutant Ninja Turtle that costs 3 generic and a blue. Has an activated ability where you tap it and put 3+1/+1 counters on target artifact you control that isn't a creature. It becomes a 0/0 robot creature in addition to its other types. It only activate as a sorcery. And whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to one target creature or target artifact or creature you control. So I took this out of the list. You put it back onto the list.
Yeah. This is one that I don't have a lot of like big context on. I have seen through the grapevine that you like sneeze and this thing combos off with a bunch of different stuff. I don't really know all the stuff that it is, and I don't really want to take the time to go super deep into it because that would just mean me Googling shit for the next 15 to 20 minutes. But it is worth noting that a lot of people have seen this as a combo heavy commander. And so if you want to explore a really weird mono blue deck that does really interesting graveyard artifact shenanigans, check it out. There's a lot of people who've put in work into exploring it so far. Just go do your googly research and you'll see some stuff. It doesn't mean that I think that this is like the next big thing. No. Would I be surprised to see this top 16 sometime because people aren't familiar with all these weird combos and you just get got? Yeah, that seems pretty plausible, you know.
Curse Totem, baby. Better than ever. Next card here on our list is Heroes in a Half Shell. This is a 5/5 Mutant Ninja Turtle that costs a Wooburg and has Vigilance, Menace, Trample, and Haste, and says whenever one or more mutants, ninjas, and or turtles you control deal combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures and draw a card. So what is the incentive to play this as your 5 mana commander versus like Leonardo and Michelangelo or Leonardo and April, right? Like what is the incentive here for this as a commander?
To me, I do think that maybe there's a chance that the wording on it tripped me up a little bit. It doesn't put a 1/1 counter on all of the creatures of those types every time you deal combat damage to a player, right? It's only those creatures that dealt damage to that player, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. It's a little bit worse.
And you draw one card.
You draw one card. That's fine. Like one card per player is a rate we're used to at this point, right? I think it's kind of mid, right? But if there is enough of that type of card that is kind of playable, it's a pretty good card draw effect. I think this is something that I figured I would highlight because antheming and drawing a card is not nothing. That being said, I've done a little exploring through these card types over the past week, and it was way more underwhelming than I thought it would be. So you need to be essentially doing 5-color Yuriko Ninja stuff, right? Like playing some Changeling Outcast, all that kind of stuff. So realistically, I'm not very high on it. But it's worth noting anytime a 5-color commander says draw cards on it, it's never the worst thing to
It's not inherently terrible.
Yeah.
Next card here is one that you like, and that is Sally Pride, Lioness Leader. This is a 2/4 cat mutant rebel that costs 3 generic and 2 white. And it says, when Sally Pride enters, create X 2/2 red mutant creature tokens, where X is the number of non-token creatures you control. Whenever Sally Pride attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So during the pre-show, we were talking about this a little bit because I saw this and I was like, Jesus Christ, 5-mana mono white commander is that seems steep to me.
Sure.
You saw potential here as a stacks commander specifically. So talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I think essentially if there is ever a mono white stacks deck that cares about the combat math that you get out of the command zone, this combat math is pretty messed up, right?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, I think so. Like if you were talking about, and I'm talking about truly like a Stony Silence, Grafdigger's Cage, Rest in Peace style, like you are not allowed to have fun.
Charles level.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's what would be required of this, right? So this is not going to be one of those decks, and you and I talked about this pre-show in the sense that I said, listen, not many people are going to go full mono white, full stacks, right? But there are enough people out there who could pilot a deck like this successfully, and because of the stat line of this commander, right? Because of all of the words on it, it is hard for me to argue that if you are going to go down that avenue, that this is not a very appealing commander for that purpose, because it pays you off in so many ways. Because hate bearers are so good at just curving out into their capacities that the fact that you can go like, all right, cool, here's like mono, turn one like Grafdigger's Cage into a Dranith, into an Archon, into a whatever. Like it doesn't particularly matter.
Yeah. I mean, that is one thing that I will give you is that mono white curves exceptionally well.
Yes.
Like just natural curves exceptionally well. So I will grant you that, but
right, and that's the thing. Also, if you ever resolve this with a Delny out, it gets very crazy. You double all the ETBs and all double the creatures, and then when you attack for the first time, it only works the first time because then you anthem your creatures, then you double anthem everything, and then so all kind of nonsense there, right? But I genuinely think this card has enough relevant lines of stats that if you played a just truly no one's allowed to have fun style mono white deck, that this would be the way to play it, to be honest.
So you get one double out of it, actually.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
But only ever one double out of it, because
once you get the ETB and the attack is kind of a
right. But once you attack with it, like one time with a Delny on the board, it stops working with Delny.
Yes, which is why I said you get an ETB and an attack.
Right. Okay. I was just clarifying for people that they understood like that was.
Yes, I've clarified that twice now. We're good. Yes. Okay. Yes. As I said, it only works once, but that's okay. Like that's totally fine. It's that it working once is pretty messed up. And then also Delny plus every other value piece in the deck would be fine, right? Archivist of Ogma, Esper Sentinel, etc. Right. Not that I think you need to go Delny in here, right? But my point is like, if you did have this commander and it only worked once with Delny, I would still feel good about that exchange, right? Is my point.
Interesting. Next commander here. This is, I'm hoping I'm saying this right, Santi Romero times Exile. This is a 4/4 demon wizard that costs 3 generic and 2 black, has trample, and says at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Santi Romero. Then you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of creature, or X is the number of counters on Santi. So like this scales fairly, you know, the longer a game goes, the better this gets. You know, in your opinion, like where are you seeing this?
Yeah, so the way I kind of see this as a strategy would be like, I don't really know how the exact composition would work, but essentially when I read this text, my brain immediately went to, okay, if I'm looking at like an Ozolith style card, for example, right? And you can stack those triggers appropriately that you go like, all right, cool, like take a bunch of counters off of the Ozolith, put it on this guy, move to combat. And the first time he ever procs, you go like, put a counter on him. He now has 5 or 6, just draw a fresh grip of 6 cards, right? Kind of the idea there. I'm assuming that's what you would need to do to make this even slightly considerable as a viable deck, right? But there's a bunch of stuff that says like, oh, when a creature enters, put a counter on it, all that kind of stuff that exists just throughout Magic, right? So if there are enough of those effects that when you play this commander, he immediately becomes a draw 5, draw 6, then it's worth it, right? Is kind of the idea.
Sure.
And then you have to win in mono black, which is extremely tough, but at the end
Good
of the
luck.
day, you know.
Our next card here, or the commanders, is Krang and Shredder. This is a 6/7 Utrum? Utrum Human Ninja. I have no fucking idea if that's how you're supposed to say it or not. It costs 4 generic and 2 blue-black hybrid. And it says whenever Krang and Shredder enter or attack, each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. And then it has a second ability that says at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn, you may cast a card exiled with Krang and Shredder without paying its mana cost. This card, to me, feels like it has a lot of potential.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because I think people are really sleeping on this, because everyone's reaction to it when I talked about this card at first was like, oh, it's a worse Gyruda, it's a worse Atali. And it's like, but that's not how you're supposed to play this commander, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it feels different, but I understand the comparison, but it feels different to me.
Yeah, like it feels like much more of a passive value grind of like, okay, cool, I flickered my commander at some point during a turn cycle, right? And then move, and here's one of the best things that I've flipped over for free, right? Like is kind of the idea there. I see it much more as like Dimir mid-range than I see it as like crack the LED to get my commander out style deck, right?
Right. And you get I think one of the things that I see as an advantage with this too is it's less about the like, you know, grabbing stuff from your opponents, but I think like a real thing is just like exiling people's decks. Right. Sure. Like I think that is a real thing that could be a value with this deck. So
yeah. It's like, it is just an infinite ETB outlet too, right? Like Hullbreaker, et cetera, right? Like the Data Navigator stuff, if you want to go that deep, like all of those things apply here, right? Yeah. Which is not bad.
Not bad at all. Last of our commanders here, this is Raph and Mikey, Troublemakers. This is a 7/7 Mutant Ninja Turtle that costs 5 generic and 2 red-green hybrid, and has trample and haste, and says whenever Raph and Mikey attack, reveal cards from the top of your library till you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped in attacking, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So you've already done a like whole video, like breaking down this commander, brewing it, kind of showing people like your thought process behind some of this stuff. So, you know, I'm going to encourage people, go watch that video. I think it is worth your time. It was wonderful. But the Cliff's Notes version for people is...
Cliff's Notes is you don't play any small creatures. You only play big creatures, hopefully some that give you extra combats. That doesn't exist in like a lot of different forms, but there's a lot of things like Old Gnawbone where you hit and you make like a ridiculous amount of mana. And then there are things like Aggravated Assault and stuff like that allow you to go into extra combats and all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely a lot of crazy over the top payoffs. You even can get like Blightsteel Colossus just to like one hit kill somebody.
Mhm.
The biggest problem is that you don't have any of your creature ramp in Gruul. But that's so far from messing around with this version of the deck. Like, I think on average, Raph and Mikey comes down on turn 3, even without any sort of mana dorks and stuff like that. Like, the only dork-ish card I have is Treasonous Ogre, and that feels 100% worth it every single time I've had it in goldfishing so far. I think this deck's a little clunky. I think it's a little parasitic, right? But I highly suggest you go check out the deck tech. I will say I had a couple mulligans in that deck tech, and they were like the nuttiest turn.
Yeah, they were wild.
Yeah, which I don't think is how the deck works a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I think in general, like it does have more potential than I think some of the haters are throwing out there.
No, I think that's fair. You know, I gotta say, I don't know if you've ever watched Scrubs.
Love Scrubs. I watch Scrubs. What a question to ask me.
I wasn't sure. It makes a lot of sense that you have watched Scrubs. That explains a lot about our friendship and our sense of humor.
Yep.
But I don't know if you've watched yet the Revival series on ABC.
No, I'm scared.
It's so good. It's
really?
So good. It's like early season Scrubs good.
No shit. Okay.
So it like the whole original creative team is like back. And it feels like Scrubs. That's great.
Awesome. That's crazy.
And the first 2 episodes came out on Wednesday. I posted this on Blue Sky, but it's like that scene in Ratatouille when the like ego guy tastes the ratatouille and he gets back to his childhood. That's how I felt watching that. I was like, oh my God, it's Scrubs. It's back.
That's awesome.
So if you haven't watched it, we're not sponsored by Scrubs, but you should absolutely watch it because it was great and it felt like home. Scrubs is my favorite TV show of all time. So I was very excited for this. Anyway, back to our set review. We've got here, we're out of the commander section. We're here into the rest of the cards. So we're going to look at some 99 cards. And the first of these cards we're going to look at here is Fugitive Droid. This is a 1/1 robot scientist that costs 1 blue mana and says this creature can't be blocked if an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn. For a blue mana, you can sacrifice it and counter target spell that targets an artifact or creature you control. Funny, I am curious if this is still a thing or not. I am like at least 50% sure that Lucasfilm still owns the right to the term droid.
Interesting.
Because I remember, do you remember the Verizon droid phone that they used to have?
Yeah.
They had to pay Lucasfilm rights to use
the word droid.
To use the word droid as like the name of the phone.
That's crazy.
If you go back and watch commercials, you can see in like the fine print at the bottom, it's like droid is a like term or blah, blah, blah. Every like poster that had them, like the fine print at the bottom, it would have like Lucasfilm, like blah, blah, blah. This is a registered trademark of Lucasfilm or whatever.
That's insane.
Isn't that wild? But yeah, that just made me think of that. But anyway, this is a little, not quite Glen Alindra, but like it's in that family of card.
Yeah. Not there, but also 1 mana.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
the mist caller is the name, the pirate.
Siren Stormtrooper, I believe you're
Siren Stormtrooper. That's the card.
Yeah, it is that type of card. I think it's like, if you care about having small evasive little doinkers, then,
or as I like to call them, little fuckers.
Hell yeah.
Or little fuckers, if that's, the movie franchise you prefer.
But no, if you care about having protection for your creatures and an evasive body, right? Because there's plenty of decks in cEDH that have like random things that care about having evasive bodies, right? And so it's obviously like a fringe card for sure. But the fact that it protects your creatures and your artifacts. So for decks, I don't think this is a Kinnan card, right? But like for those type of decks where it's like, okay, artifact and creatures are all the combos in the deck, then it kind of works for that purpose, right? You'd have to give me a reason to not play Spellskite instead. And I think that exact reason is I want an Invasive Body turn after turn, right? So, yeah.
Next card. We are looking here at Tempestra Dame of Games. This is a 1/3 legendary elemental illusion creature that costs a generic and a red. It has an activated ability that costs 2 generic and a red. You tap it, sacrifice an artifact, and create a token that is a copy of another target creature you control, except it isn't legendary. It gains haste, and you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. This was a card that when I was like going through the like full spoiler, I was like, this looks like an Atali card to me. Like, yeah, it like maybe it's not the best one, but I could see like Atali having this and that being a good card in Atali. There are other, decks that like to get the like multiple like ETBs off their commander.
Yeah,
if this feels like it isn't terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not convinced on this one. I think the rate's just too much. The fact that it needs to not be something exact, that you need an artifact, that you need to pay 3 mana for the copy. It's like, for me, this is too many things. Unfortunately speaking.
The thing that I found that I did like about is the sacrificing the artifact felt to me, I don't know why I was thinking of stuff that like you sacrifice this and you make like a copy of the thing you sacrificed or whatever. But like, I don't know. It felt to me like there is some potential there. I don't know that it's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But I saw this and I was like, I feel like it's at least worth like,
at least we're talking about.
Yeah. Right? Talking about and like acknowledging.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, a deck like Atali is at least interested in the effect, whether or not it plays it or not, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I don't think it's a matter of like, is the effect good? The effect is good. It's just I think the rate is too much to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next card here is Toka and Rozer.
Couldn't tell you.
I think it's probably Rozer. Toka and Rozer, terrible 2s. This is a 3/2 turtle wolf mutant that costs 2 hybrid black-red mana. And this spell can't be countered. Has menace and says whenever a player casts a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast it was less than its mana value, Toka and Rozer deal 3 damage to that player.
Force of will, mind break trap, force of negation, fear guardianship, deflecting swat, etc., etc. There's a lot of cards that this applies to. Yeah, misdirection. I also think
Commandeer.
You took it out of the main the commander specific portion, but I do think that there is at least a entertaining, if not mediocre, build that uses a Helm of Awakening style card to make everything cost a little bit less, and that way your opponents can't cast anything without hurting themselves, which I do think is very funny.
I don't hate that.
That's kind of
that is the type of funny bullshit that I appreciate. I don't think it's good, but that's like the same type of bullshit I used to do in Lavinia, where you're like I play Helm of Awakening. I want your shit to be cheaper. But yeah, like in Lavinia, it was funny because we used to play Helm of Awakening because we're like, we're gonna want your 1 mana artifact mana. That is better for us.
Yeah, and what's nice here too is it doesn't just like shut down the 1-drops. It like makes you hurt for everything that has any non-generic or
everything that is not a 0 mana card hurts.
Yeah, or that has all pips, right?
Right. That is
funny. I think it's interesting. I think obviously like it's a Rakdos Pain style card. I think we all talk about this 1,000 times a year, but like we get closer and closer to Group Slug becoming a thing over time, and eventually
we do talk about this. I swear, like every set review.
At one point, we'll eventually be able to play Price of Progress in cEDH. You know, that being said, though, like all the jokes aside, like, you know, Niall fucking top forward with Jaws a couple months ago.
The more we talk about it, the more, though, I feel like that dude who's sitting out in, like, I don't know, sitting at some bar somewhere and is like, listen, man, eventually all cars are going to run on ethanol. Like, yeah, that's how it makes me feel when I talk about it like that, where it's just like, dude, they have cars that run on water.
At least our theory doesn't ignore capitalism.
It's true. It's true. Next card here is Irma, part-time mutant. This is a 1/1 human, legendary human mutant shapeshifter that costs 2 generic and a blue. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, Irma becomes a copy of up to one other target creature you control, except her name is Irma, part-time mutant, and she has this ability. Then put a +1/+1 counter on her. So this is interesting. It's kind of like always your best creature on the battlefield at any given time, just without the ETB effect, which sucks, but
Tell me why I am looking at the girl from the Gorillas in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that does look like a character from Gorillas. That's funny.
I actually think this card's cool.
Yeah.
I think it does some really unique stuff. I actually completely blew over it when I first read this commander card, not as a commander in general, but I didn't realize that it does the Sakashima thing. And I like that it continually does that. I think for decks like Sisei, I think it's like actually really interesting to stick this before you go into your other combos, right? So it's unsummoning sick. I also think there's other decks in the format that care about not having summoning sickness in their commanders, right? So then being able to go like, all right, you know, for example, I think 6-mana Narset's maybe not a perfect example, but it's an interesting one, right? Go 6-mana Narset, kind of like the shit we do with Marvin nowadays, right? Where it's like it, you know, or Stella Lee's another great example, right? Like getting Marvin for those types of tap decks was a really big upgrade for those decks, right? And so Irma kind of gives me that similar vibe where you go like, oh, you play Irma first, and then or Arkham Daxon's another one too, right? Now all of a sudden you have to have that debate of like, oh shit, when do I kill Irma, and then they get to follow up with their real commander, and then I have to find another removal spell to deal with that, right? So like there's a lot of that kind of notion there. What I will say is it is a targeted ability, so your opponents can take advantage of the fact that, for example, if you go to like use Arkham Daxon, for example, you play Arkham, your opponents can go, all right, cool, Irma trigger on the stack, bounce your Arkham, and then you're like, no. But I do think, you know, in a deck like Sisei or in a deck that once again has these weird like combo-y style commanders, I especially like getting 6-mana Narset, not that that's a very relevant meta deck for the current moment, but especially in that consideration because she is hexproof, so you can't kill the Narset in response. You have to kill Irma, and you still have a Narset coming down next turn, right? So there's like cute stuff like that. I think it's like I'm excited to see where I can mess around with this card in the 99.
I think it's interesting as like a 99 piece in decks that like want their commanders to tap to do something.
Exactly.
That is really interesting.
That's the one that I think it's really the cleanest in probably. Is like having a Marvin and and Irma and Stella all in one deck. I think is very clean for that archetype.
Yeah, no, that seems reasonable.
Yeah. Cool.
Next card. We are looking at another legendary creature. This is April O'Neil, Human Element. This is a 2/5 legendary human detective that costs 3 generic and a blue, and says whenever a player casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, you create a mutagen token.
Yeah, so this is relevant because there are decks that care about tokens and not how bad mutagens are, right? This is another one of those cards that because Cabbage Merchant came out, like Jaheira becomes kind of viable nowadays, right? With Cabbage Merchant and this and a bunch of other stuff out right now, right? We talk about like Urza looks really great if this is ever on the battlefield, right? That just every artifact instant and sorcery becomes just a mana, a Mox Sapphire, right?
Yeah, there's like certainly places where this is like
Marnie's Calgar with this is crazy, right? Like it becomes a heuristic study effectively, or close.
Honestly, it's not even that bad in Tivit.
What are you using the tokens for? Yes.
I mean, just like they're just like sack fodder to the Civ, and then you get to have your Tivit tokens or Tivit stuff be like things you care about. Yeah, it is 4 mana though. That is the one piece of that though that I do think,
which is where I think like the Urza Chihira decks like get a little bit more oomph out of it because they
honestly this feels like a huge win for Urza. Like Urza is the deck that feels like, because like before I think the closest analog you had to this was like what, Sai, and this feels better than that, right? Because it's like effectively a Rhystic Study that's going to feed you mana over and over.
You can proc too, right? That's the interesting part. Yeah, because all the other things for Urza have been whenever you cast something, right? Is when those things pop off, which is like Ongoing Investigation. I think is the best one.
I think that's probably the best one.
Or is that legal in Urza? I actually don't know. Maybe the Shark is. Maybe that's probably the best one.
The other one that I think of too that's probably really good is what the investigate spell, the like enchantment that you would investigate. That's what I was talking about. That was the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
This is like for clarity, like if you are an Urza pilot, it's a good day to be you because this is a great card.
Yeah. I just think like there's a lot of these really interesting like token style tappy decks that are like Wizards is paying attention to those, right? Between that and the Mechanist that we got in Avatar and a couple other things like that, like there's a lot of cards that are producing tokens at a exceptional rate, I would argue. Plus we have Stride Hanger Automaton and stuff like that.
I mean, this feels like it is the most aggressive of them, right? Like this to me feels like it's the most aggressive of the artifact, like the token generators.
Up layer, it's just like Lotho in that sense, right? Where it's like it's saying up layer counts for quite a lot, right? Also something Leonardo the Balanced procs every turn probably. Like
no, I think this is a great 99 piece for like a lot of decks.
I think it's a great way of putting them. Yep.
I don't think it's going to be in like every deck, obviously, but like, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with Marnius too. Like this is a fucking wild card to have in Marnius. Probably an auto counter if you're playing a deck that has Marnius and or that's a Marnius deck and they play this, you probably like immediately counter it or remove it.
or just kill Marnius when it comes out for sure.
That too. Next card here is Michelangelo Improviser. This is a 4/4 mutant ninja turtle that costs 3 generic and a green, has sneak for 2 generic and 2 green. We haven't really talked about sneak yet today, but sneak says you may cast the spell for 2 generic and 2 green. That's its sneak cost. If you also return an unblocked attacker you control to hand during the declare blocker step, he enters tapped and attacking. So what his ability says is whenever Michelangelo deals combat damage to a player, you may put a creature card and or a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So I don't think this is like insane or anything. I think this is like clearly strong, right? Like this has like very obvious like things that you could do with it. I did add this to our review, and I do think that it's like kind of interesting. I don't know specifically where it fits in, but my brain looks at this and goes, decks that care about cheating in big creatures. This is a not bad piece for those types of decks. So I don't hate it in those scenarios. I also think as a commander, it's not the worst either.
Yeah, you definitely have to like wonder, like compare that to like Kona, right? I think Kona's a little better. But it's interesting to say the least. Or here, is it Calcium? Calcium, I believe.
I think so.
But like it does a similar effect to all those cards. I think that there's also just we're hitting a critical mass of sneak attack style cards, and like this feels like it's appropriate for that. I also think that there's there's a top end version of a deck like Rogthras that would want something like this, where it's like, if you play Nyx Bloom Hullbreaker, etc., right? Like big mana Rogthras, not quite semi-blue nonsense, but like something probably a little bit more
adjacent to that.
Yeah, exactly. So like, as I jokingly refer to sometimes semi blue. Like that feels like, if you swing it with a Rog, everyone's just like, aha, you're attacking with a Rog, and you're like, great, return return Rog to my hand, Michelangelo, and hit somebody, drop a Nyx Bloom, laugh your way to the bank. Like it's pretty. There's some cool shit there for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't think this is like groundbreaking or like insane, but I think like it is a deck that feels like, or a card that feels like it has a role to play in very specific decks.
Yeah, totally.
And I think Rogtox is a really great example, but that is something to think about. Next card here is Raphael, the Night Watcher. This is a 2/3 legendary mutant ninja turtle that costs 2 generic and 2 red. Also has sneak for 1 generic and 2 red. And it says attacking creatures you control have double strike. Yeah. I'm assuming this is a Winota card.
Yeah. It's like, it feels like that's the general vibe is like, it's I don't have a perfect answer for this card, but it's like, this is some attacky Winota-y bullshit that like, like at some point you just kill people, The biggest downside here is honestly the fact that sneak is a cast. And so it does not get around Roll of Law, which is kind of a bit of a pain in the bum, but
But I think it's interesting for a deck like Winota to have like a Blade Historian effect that can also trigger Winota. You know what I mean? Like I do think that's interesting. So it's like you get both of that effect in the deck. I don't think it's terrible. So
and obviously if you get in for 3 mana, that's pretty gross,
right. Yeah. Next card here is Renet Temporal Apprentice. This is a 4/3 legendary human wizard that costs 3 generic and 2 blue, has flash, and says when Renet enters, return each other non-land permanent that entered this turn to its owner's hand. So where are you seeing this at?
This card feels like it has good text, and I don't quite know where. I feel like there's definitely some like bullshit here where you can like, if you have free rocks and either a flicker effect or another bounce effect, you can just bounce this and a bunch of rocks over and over again to like make infinite mana and all that kind of stuff, get infinite ETBs. It's also just like kind of a board wipe on a stick that you can keep in your hand. I don't like it in the command zone as much. It could be a command zone thing, but like definitely feels a little bit more clunky in that capacity. But there's a lot of just like weird, quirky, tricksy nonsense. Like this comes off to me as like a player who plays a 5-color pile that has a lot of specialties is going to like whip these out one day and like blow an entire game plan out of the water by bouncing someone's entire board that they just developed on like a Rogthras board state. And then, maybe even bounce itself at some point, right? Like that's the kind of bullshit that I see with this commander for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Next card here is Raphael Tag Team Tough. This is a 5/6 legendary mutant ninja turtle that costs 4 generic and 2 red, has menace, and says whenever Raphael deals combat damage to a player for the first time each turn, untap all attacking creatures. After this combat phase, there is an additional combat phase. That's interesting. This does have like, this can do a Godo loop too. As long as
if you
copy, if the copy deals damage, which I think is interesting.
It's also like one thing I realized when I was exploring the Troublemakers list, right? Raph and Mikey Troublemakers, is that there's actually very few creatures that hit and get a combat for your whole team, and this is one of them, right? So something critical mass of these cards, the more that exists, the more that weird combo decks like Raph and Mikey Troublemakers can exist and be consistent, right? So this is just an addition to a critical mass of like, okay, the more of these exist, the more broken stuff you can do. TLDR.
Yeah.
Also, 5/6 evasive body is like
not
to
bad.
scoff at for an extra combat, right? That's 10 damage on its own.
Yeah. Next card here on our list is Shredder's Technique. This is a sorcery that costs 2 generic and a black, has sneak for 1 black, and says destroy target creature or enchantment. If an enchantment was destroyed this way, you lose 2 life.
Yeah. They're printing more of these destroy target enchantment effects in black because that's been something the color pie has historically not been very good at. This costs 1 mana. That is the cheapest version of that effect that has ever existed. Is it better than the ones that are instant speed that have no chance of being cheaper? I don't know. That's up to you, pilot. But it costs 1 mana, so that's not bad, especially if you're playing like a Rog Tevesh sort of turbo deck. Probably worth investing in.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. West Coast Rog Tevesh players, balls in your court.
Oh, God. I don't think they've been on that shit for a hot minute. But
Next card is Splinter's Technique. This is another sorcery that costs 3 generic and a black. Also has a sneak for a generic and a black. And says, search your library for a card. Put that card into your hand, then shuffle. This is a, what is it? A diabolic tutor that can also sometimes be a demonic tutor.
Oh, yes, diabolic tutor. Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah, the 4 mana demonic tutor.
Yeah, Rogsai really needed another demonic tutor, guys. So be nice to them.
Yeah, they really have a hard time.
They have a hard time.
It's been a rough few months.
Yeah. That deck's really having a rough time, and they needed this layup. Yeah, my theory from 2 years ago continues that Wizards cannot go 3 months without printing something for Rogsai.
Yeah.
Shrug. It's bad for some parts of Rogsai, and it's good for other parts of Rogsai. Yay!
Yeah. Amazing. Next card on our list here is an instant that is continue? Question mark. This is an instant.
I think you have to ask him. We're like, continue.
Continue. This costs a generic and a white. And says, choose up to 4 target creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield. Honestly, an instant speed reanimate that can hit up to 4 creatures for 2 mana.
Yeah.
Is
kind of nutty, right?
Really good. Granted, it can only get stuff that was put into the graveyard from the battlefield. So let's take a deep breath. But that's still really good.
There's a bunch of crazy shit you can do with this. There's Sack Outlet plus Eternal Witness plus, fill in the blank here, like Cloud of Fairies. There's just a bunch of really weird infinite combos you can go and do with this stuff. Plus,
I didn't even think about Ewit loops, but that makes sense.
Yeah, it's that stuff. It's what any sort of graveyard aristocrat-y style deck is gonna want this type of effect, right? So it's it's a very hyper specific, right? But
I mean, even
it's hyper specific in a capacity where it's not that hard to break it.
I'm thinking a Phyrexian Altar, an Eternal Witness, this, and then 2 generic creatures is infinite mana.
Yeah. And probably infinite damage or whatever, right? If this in a Bowmasters is Phyrexian Altar, Ewit, Bowmasters is just game over, right?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's really good.
Yeah. It's infinite spellcast of an instant, right? So that is not great, right? But if you're playing a deck that's doing any sort of graveyardy stuff, right? It fits in pretty naturally.
But I mean, this is a thing that you could do on somebody else's turn, and you don't need any of the Born Upon a Wind nonsense, right? This is just does it the old, this is just its Christian speed.
Sure.
So next card here is Swift Demise. This is a 2 generic and a black instant that says Swift Demise deals 1 damage to target creature, then destroy each creature you don't control that was dealt damage this turn.
This is what happens if you call Taylor Swift outdated. You get a Swift Demise.
What?
Swift Demise, the fans beat you up. Never mind. It's a bad joke. Don't look at me like that. You throw out fucking weak zingers all the time. I don't want to hear it.
Did you? But here's the difference.
Okay.
No, we gotta. I gotta put my foot down here.
Uh-huh.
I don't include cards specifically in our set reviews to make bad.
Oh no, I didn't.
To make jokes.
Make this to put it in here for the joke. I don't think I even put it in here. I think this was a Phoenix inclusion.
Okay. That getting real sus in here. I don't know.
No, this was in my considering board, but it never made it into the main board. So
Yeah,
I don't
same.
know why that's in here. Yeah.
I don't know. Next card here is Turtles Forever. This is an instant that says search your library and or outside the game for exactly 4 legendary creature cards you own from with different names, then reveal those cards. An opponent chooses 2 of them, put the chosen cards into your hand, and shuffle the rest into your library. Hey guys, look, it's white gifts ungiven for legends.
Turtles ungiven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Downside is it doesn't put them in the graveyard, but that's also maybe in white not a downside.
Yeah, that might be an upside.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, if you're playing any sort of deck that has a high density of legends, I don't think this is like a Sisei card, perhaps, but like a low color white deck feels like this probably does some nonsense, right? That's all I got. It's I don't think this is a card where I'm going to be like, yes, it goes with this broken combo, right? But it like
Gifts Ungiven and Intuition are historically good cards, so I think that there is something that could be good here.
Yeah.
Next card here is Raphael's Technique. This is an instant that costs 4 generic and 2 red, has Sneak for 2 generic and 1 red, and it says each player may discard their hand and draw 7 cards. This art looks so cool. This art is so cool. Honestly, the techniques from this, the technique cycle that they did in this set, I thought all looked really, really, really cool.
Agreed.
Like every art they did for these techniques, I was like, damn, okay, you guys did not fuck that one up. But yeah, so you know, we're looking at like a pseudo wheel here. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, it's a bad pseudo wheel, but that's not bad. You know, like the fact that it doesn't actually wheel your opponent's forced is like maybe a little cringe. But if you need more wheels and you have the capacity to do so, right? Something potentially Rog's Eye. Although you do run into the very awkward situation where you bounce Rog back to your hand and you do have to wheel him because there's no in between.
Yeah, but when you put it into the graveyard, you just put it back in the zone. So anytime it changes zones.
But I'm saying like there's no like at least with the demonic tutor, you can just play Rog again for 0, right? Whereas like this, you actually have to. Right? So it's closer to a sacrifice effect than perhaps just like a bounce back to hand type thing. But yeah, I don't think it's a Rog Sai card specifically because like goddamn, you're not going to take 6 off the dome for Nas, right?
Yeah, seriously.
But it does some cute stuff for sure. So I think it's interesting.
Maybe in a Nar set.
Maybe a Nar set.
Who knows? Next card here is Sewer Veilance Cam. Oh, I like that. That's a fun pun. I have not said that one out loud yet.
Okay. So it sounded very disingenuous, so I could not tell.
No. I have yet to fully like process the name of the card, and I did that in real time. This is an artifact that costs 1 blue mana, has flash, and says when this artifact enters or leaves the battlefield, you may tap or untap target creature, and then for 3 generic and a blue, you can sacrifice this artifact and draw 2 cards.
I unironically hate how good this card is.
Okay.
It is like so randomly powerful that it's kind of annoying. It has no text, but it has so much text. I don't know. It's so hard to describe. Like it's a new infinite in Urza is already one thing, because if you have your construct and you have this with Retraction Helix, it just makes infinite mana. Because you Retraction Helix the construct, you enter the battlefield, you untap the construct, you tap this for a blue, you tap the construct, bouncing this back to your hand, which untaps the construct. You tap it for a blue to cast this. Yeah.
Oh, you bounce. Oh, you okay.
You bounce this over and over again because it has.
I thought you were saying you bounce the construct, and I was like,
no, that would kill the construct.
Ian,
right?
that's not how that works.
No. You're only ever untapping or tapping the construct for mana.
That's funny. I had not thought about that, but yeah, that's really funny.
It's also just like beyond fucked up in Arkham Dagson, like the fact that it's a flash untap artifact. Like it's not an artifact creature, but it doesn't matter because it's a 1 mana flash untapper. It doesn't go infinite with Stella, but like it's another way to instant speed flash untap that commander. There's just so many little stupid things that this does that makes it good. Like it works in Sisay with like Bloom Tenders and stuff like that, right? Like it's not a legend, but it doesn't matter because it's a 1 blue untapper that untaps the permanent. No, it's like it genuinely. This is a card that makes a bunch of random combos happen. Like it's not Cope.
No, I believe you. I'm just have big Charlie Day energy right now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, very Pepe Sylvia right now for sure.
Yeah.
But also does crazy shit with the Displacer Kitten too. I'm pretty sure. As long as you have I guess it has to be a creature that makes mana. But yeah, it does a lot of really random crazy, like just untap turns into a combo, which if you bounce this and blah, 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 blah. Nonsense.
Cool. Sewer Veilance Cam.
Yeah. Oh, also Emery. Like, yeah. That's all I have to say. Emery.
I don't think about Emery very often, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, you don't have to.
Next card here is Cool But Rude. This is a 2 mana enchantment class that costs a generic and a red. And if you don't remember classes, they are static abilities. You basically level them up to get the next ability. The first level here is whenever you attack, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. The second level costs a generic and red to unlock. And whenever you discard a card, this class deals 2 damage to each opponent. And the last level also costs 2 generic and a red. And said when this class becomes level 3, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, shuffle, then discard a card at random. Okay.
I think this card's sick, honestly.
It's interesting.
I think any sort of discard deck is going to adore this card, right? There have been decks that use like Linthorn as like outlets and stuff like that in the past.
Casey Jones.
Yeah. Yes. Well, actually, no. Like, unironically, this is fucking insane in Casey Jones. But it's the fact too that if you are ever flooding out with this card, it just then turns into a gamble. Minus the biggest downside of gamble, which is gamble is technically card disadvantage, right? Because you're investing in a card and you end up discarding a card, meaning it is strictly card disadvantage, right? You're 2-for-1ing yourself. Whereas this gets its static abilities, and then you can hit that last mode, and it actually is card parity, essentially, right? Because you are going to discard a card, but you invested in this card in the first place, but it's doing other things, right?
Yes.
Because you don't lose this card by using that ability. You still have the 2 static.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, if you care about any sort of like red looting whatsoever, if Inti, I guess, is the direction you're going into, but like it's more so like there's definitely like going to be red discard matter style things in the future for this format because it's a very powerful line of text.
Right.
So it does a lot of good stuff in one thing, and the fact that all 3 modes have relevant capabilities.
Yeah, I mean that second level is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage really quick. Especially when you storm off with Casey Jones and then you go into your next turn and discard all 50 cards.
Oh, man, I got to discard all these cards. Shit. Damn. Fuck. This is such a predicament.
Beans.
Next card here is Does Machines. This is another enchantment class that costs a generic and a blue. The first level is when this class enters, mill 2 cards, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. The second level, it costs a generic and a blue to unlock, and when this class becomes level 2, return up to 2 target artifact cards from your graveyard to your hand. The final level costs 4 generic and a blue to unlock, and says at the beginning of your combat on your turn, put 3+1/+1 counters on target artifact you control. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot creature in addition to its other types. Yeah.
Any sort of graveyard matters, this is like kind of busted in those, right? Like you are getting multiple layers of card filtering as you're going through and sculpting through your entire deck. Plus, with the artifact recursion mode of this, this LED Displacer Kitten doesn't necessarily go infinite per se, but you're able to mill through your entire deck and recur any artifacts you need while you're doing so, because it's mana positive every time you go through an iteration of that loop. Because it's to level it up to level 2, but it's only it's 0 to cast the LED and crack the LED for 3 blue, right? So LED displays your kitten. This goes and does some essentially sculpting through your entire deck and putting it all in the graveyard, right? On top of the fact that any sort of graveyard thing, as I mentioned, mill 2 and then draw 2, discard 2 is going to fill up your graveyard really, really quickly, right? So I don't think we've really seen a rate like this before, and it's hard to compare to, which is usually a good sign that means it's doing something right, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Next card here is Endless Foot Assault. This is an enchantment that costs 2 generic and white and says whenever you attack, for each opponent, create a 1/1 black ninja creature token that's tapped and attacking that player. It also has Squad that for a generic and white. And for those of you who are not here for Squad the first time around or the second time around, Squad is, as an additional cost to cast the spell, you may pay a generic and white any number of times. When this enchantment enters, create that many tokens that are copies of it. So this card is good. I don't know that the Squad is what makes it good. I think that's kind of irrelevant text in my opinion.
I wouldn't say irrelevant. The
It
Squad
is
is relevant to its scaling.
Sure. But like the what makes this card good isn't the Squad, right? Like it is the main line of text, which is whenever you attack, you create 3 1/1 black ninja creature tokens that are tapped and attacking that player, right? Like
yeah, exactly. What I will say though is if you have a single token doubler, the math gets ludicrous.
Oh, for sure.
Because you then, if you squad once, you'll have 3 copies of this card. And then those would all be doubled.
I already hate it. No, thank you. I'm good.
Pretty sure someone did the math the other day when I was talking to them. And if you attack, you end up making 18 ninjas with 1 doubler and this squad at a single time. Which is pretty good, I think. It's 6 per player you're attacking. So that obviously gets out of hand somewhat quickly. Does that sound maybe a little bit in the high power space? Probably. But we just covered the fact that there are going to be Saxier style commanders.
I mean, and I think this card is like fine. Like I don't know that it like goes in everything, but I think like there are mid-rangey like Timna decks, right? That this is great in. And yeah, I mean, I see no real downside to playing this. Like I think that like this in like a Marnius is ridiculous. You know, like
unfortunately not super ridiculous just because it only would draw 1 card per combat because they're all coming in at the same time.
Sure. My thought though is just the mass that you are getting
totally
is like probably worth that rate.
Cards power level equals X, where X is the amount of how much a body is relevant to your game plan.
Right.
And the scaling thereof gets crazy, right?
Yeah. Like, well, and the reason I bring up Marnius is because Marnius kind of already naturally plays some of the like token doubler stuff anyway.
Sure.
So like that was where I was like that you probably get the most mileage out of it there.
Yeah. Also they're ninjas, right? So like cards like Yuriko and Ingenious Infiltrator and stuff like that are like yeah.
Well,
like
and I mean earlier we were talking about like the Esper Splinter, right?
Yeah,
like I think that there is like, you know, room for that discussion there too. So like I think that there's plenty of utility for those.
This and Adeline and Inox Survivalist, like this line of text of when you attack, make a stupid amount of bodies has been replicated enough that we should.
And it's not when you attack, you know, one singular player. It is just like when you attack. So like, you could only swing one thing, and this is going to proc. So like, that is quite good. Next card. This is, in my opinion, probably the best card from the set. And this is Ninja Pizza. I hate that is what it's named, but that is the world we live in. This is an enchantment that costs 2 generic and a green, and says foods you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. At the beginning of your second main phase, create a food token. This, I mean, we talked about this earlier in the show. This plus like the Cabbage Merchant, and I mean, there's Raphael, like there's other stuff that, I mean, Samwise Gamgee, like there's all these food token generators in the format now that kind of all coalesce around being able to make mana with food that just like feels like we're getting to a place where food is like a good card type. Like, which feels weird, but like we are reaching that point where like, I think if you are playing a deck that plays Cabbage Merchant, you're probably playing this too. So like,
yeah. I mean, this on its own also is like not the worst mana engine. Just like it effectively says, if you ignore the rest of this text, at the beginning of your second main phase, each turn, make a Lotus Petal.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
And then, God, dude, the fucking, whenever this plus the Cabbage Merchant is so gross because I keep forgetting about the whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell part. So you just get passive mana that you can use cheaply. Like if you want to tap it down with the Cabbage Merchant, you can, or you can sacrifice. Like it doesn't fucking matter.
Essentially, do you pay half the mana to have longevity with your mana, or do you just use it all as ritual mana, essentially, right away, like a treasure?
It's so insane. Like I genuinely think that this plus the Cabbage Merchant pushes green into like maybe one of the best secondary colors in the format.
I think it's an underrated support color as of right now, for sure.
Yeah, I really think green is insanely well positioned. Like it's like white and green are like jockeying for that best second or third color. And you know, I think there's a lot of advantages to both, but this card is, in my opinion, the best card from the set. But and quite frankly, I don't think it's particularly close. But I feel that you don't agree with me.
I think Super Veilance Camera is much better, but
yeah, I see that. I don't know. This just feels like so broadly applicable.
Yes, it's
and
generically much more applicable.
And I think that's why I look at this and I'm like, this is the best card from the set, because I don't have to think very hard of decks that this immediately fits into.
Sure. Also, the face I was making is because you said jockeying, and then all I could think about was chicken jockey. That's why I was trying not to laugh this whole time.
It is so funny to, I tell Cassidy this sometimes, like fairly regularly, is it's so funny to like talk to you and like make modern pop culture references to you. Because you are so not online, where I will like make a reference that is just like,
and I will
probably normal for anybody who's aware of pop culture, and you just look at me like cross-eyed, and then I make the reference once, and you're like, chicken jockey, and it's
listen,
like you are the audience for this shit. You just don't look at TikTok.
Nope. You're not wrong.
It's like
oh my god, the other day I was this is a slight side tangent, but like one of my favorite YouTubers that I'm subscribed to is literally that like iconic TikToker, like his average volume is a yell, and like just one of those classic like, I'm gonna go do this today, and I'm just like, yes, so entertained. Like it's just full ADHD brain. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
It's so funny because it's like my YouTube is, especially recently, it's like all, I mean, it's always had like CK3 content creators, but then I've also gotten really into like history YouTube. So like that, and then like I've always been a huge Hank Green fan, so basically any of the Complexly stuff.
Yeah.
So, but that's funny. Our last card here is the only land we're really talking about today, and that is Northampton Farm. This is a land where you can tap it to add colorless. You can pay 1 to tap it and exile target creature you own, or you can pay 2 generic, tap it, and sacrifice this land to return a creature card exiled with this land to the battlefield under your control. Return each other card exiled with this land to its owner's hand. That's neat. Huh.
Yeah, right?
That's
like
interesting.
It's weird. Like
I don't know how much it will get played. But I see the thought, right? Like
I'm not gonna lie, I'm almost tempted to play this in Italy.
that's not terrible. I don't hate that.
Like,
I think it's slow as fuck.
Yeah.
But
you're
like,
not activating this because things are going well.
Yeah, like it's a good defensive piece that still gets you like some of that momentum. I don't hate it there. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's just like it's we haven't really seen this effect before in a mana efficient way. This has existed before, but it's been like 2 to exile and like 4 to get everything back type of thing, right?
No, this is real aggressively costed.
Yeah.
And then also just still functions as a land, which is a nice upside. Which is weird to say, but like the nice upside that my land makes mana. Really hitting them with the hot takes today.
I really like when the basic function of the thing that I'm playing works. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Overall, what are your thoughts on this set, Ian?
I think that this is a set that has a lot of very niche pieces. And I'm never really upset about that. One thing that I am a little vaguely perturbed by is that I believe the stats are like 100 legends in this set. And I feel like a disturbingly low amount of playable legends in this set.
Yeah. They feel like a lot of them are like draft chaff sort of legends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's fine because it's like a legend filled set because you're working on an IP and there's a lot of iconic characters. Sure. I'm not like super perturbed by it.
Not a monster, right?
Yeah. I'm not a turtle fan of the IP in general, right? And so for me, this has just been like, there's some fun cards. As I mentioned, I like some of the art, the 8-bit stuff. I think what I enjoy about this set, and what I always enjoy about sets like this, is that I am not trying to find the Hexing Squelchers, the Voice of Victories, all those kinds of cards in CEDH.
The Ninja Pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't give a shit about those cards because those are the kind of cards that are going to see play in some of the most boring copy-paste decks in the format, and they're going to be there, right? For me, what I care more about I almost said, the Endless Foot Assault card and things like that, like that Sewer Veilance Cam.
Honestly,
like
I had not been thinking about the like broader applications of like a continue, but like the fact that there is like a straightforward win loop with this, right? Like at instant speed, I think is like really compelling. And I think that is an interesting thing to be doing. And like, I think the other, not to go back to this card, but like, I think that shell that we just described, right, of playing, like the Bowmasters, Ewit, Continue, and like the one odd card that you're really playing there is Phyrexian Altar, and like that shell fits right into like a TNT shell.
Sure.
And I don't think it disrupts that package.
No,
outside of the Phyrexian Altar, which I think is maybe like a little, odd to play, but maybe you find a better card for that ability, right? But like, I think that's
if you're going to do that kind of stuff, then like look into different combos with that stuff
right?
Like,
but I mean, that's the thing that I think is interesting about that, because I think it fits into that really cleanly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a thing that like that second win con package is the thing that I think like TNT has been really struggling with. And like, I don't think that's a bad package, and it's instant speed too, right? So
the nice part of the package too is that like all you need is for it to be green white, and it does make infinite mana, right? So if you have Phyrexian Altar, Ewit, the Continue card, and then like a third creature that's infinite mana, right?
Yep.
So like already right there, that's something. You know what I mean? Right. The fact that it doesn't actually even need the Bowmasters, right? So like it's not limited to a lot of colors, and it's limited to colors that don't necessarily have problems doing things like that, right? So I think
don't always get like those instant speed wins too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I mean, I think that's what's cool about it. Like that, I like in the thing, like people will be like, well, that is kind of like a generically good combo, Cal, and it's like, yes, it is, but like you're not going to see that show up in like Timna Crom. Like they're not particularly interested in that, right? But like I think like it's a thing that can fill a role in certain decks that are in that mid-range game, and I think I like that is a thing that exists. I knew Continue was good when I saw it, but I didn't even think about the combo potential originally.
I also really don't hate the idea of like the fact that like even if you just use it with Ranger Captain, you crack a Ranger Captain, silence people for the turn, they can't stop the fact that you cast a Continue, and then you bring back your Ranger Captain. So you have an uncounterable way to bring back a second Ranger Captain.
Yeah, no, that's pretty hot. And then you get like a second one drop off of that. Like that's not bad at all. Like, and this is the thing that I like about it too, is because you like don't necessarily always want it in hand. So like you're kind of encouraged to play it out like anyhow. So it's just like the card has so like I'm actually, the more I talk about this, the more I'm like, maybe this is close to Ninja Pizza as like a really good card. Because like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wait, this is more broadly applicable than I think I really initially thought.
Totally.
But yeah, anyway, like the point being is that like I like the way that this set was built. I think that there were like the mutagen token I would have liked to have not been absolute garbage. I would have like it could have literally just been like if it was a map token, I would have been, and map tokens suck. I would have been like, fuck yeah, that rules. But like what it does is terrible. So like there's nothing good to say about it. But even with that, it's still like April O'Neil, I think, is a great example of this. Is even with the like worst token imaginable, it still is able to feed like a very niche deck like Urza, right? Into giving it a very, very, very strong, like arguably Ristic Study level good in that deck piece. And like, it's not going to be that in every deck, but in Urza particularly, like that is going to rival like a Smothering Tithe for that deck. You know what I mean? Like that is a really good card.
And the format's moving to a place where like the more of those effects that you can have, the more likely you are to actually be able to compete. Yeah. Right. Like it just really is where we're at right now. Right. Like these other decks that are just essentially like giant fucking slog fests of decks are just like, you need to have stuff like that to compete with them, Well,
and I mean, and that's like what holds back. And this is kind of what I think is interesting about like the design choices in this, because it kind of gives you those advantage engines, but the advantage engines feel like they are better at like in these lower color shelves, right? Which I think is like
good,
right? Like it doesn't feel like it's just Smothering Tithe, throw it in anything, right? But it's like Ninja Party, I think maybe is like a little bit of an exception to that. But like I think that like some of these pieces I'm looking at, and I'm like, these are good for very specific spots, and they're, could rival other like, really good cards, but only when they're here, and I think that, I think that's good. I like that we have that.
That's good for the format period.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And so overall, and I've seen people complaining about like the art, and this, I don't think the art's really that bad. I think we have seen considerably worse art. I mean, hell, I don't have to look very hard to find art from the 1990s that looks horrific. And
it's a style choice. Like,
it's a I don't love the food chain art, but like I saw Cal say that it was like one of the worst Magic arts ever made, and I'm like, I think that's a scalding hot take, buddy. I don't think that's it. Like I don't get me wrong, I don't think it looks good. Like I'm not making an argument that I think it's like a great art, but like anyway, with that being said, Ian, if folks would like to work on any of these decks or these cards that we talked about in this game with you, how might they be able to do that?
Oh, sure. Hey, everybody. If you want to potentially brew some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle commanders, or you might just want to find out how you can best fit a Ninja Pizza into your cEDH decks, Feel free to hit me up at comedianmtg@gmail.com or any of the places that Cal is nice enough to leave in the description of this video. Also, if you just want to take your next step up in that cEDH gaming, my tagline is I have more wins with different archetypes and different decks than most other players. And that's something I will continue to strive and do. I'm still going to show up with the Spider-Man. I'm going to show up with our turtles. We'll see what happens. But yeah, genuinely excited to take out this new set, check out some new cards in it, and see what we're going to be able to do. Feel free to hit me up once again. Email comedianmtg@gmail.com or any of the places in the description down below.
If you want to support us here, you can go over to patreon.com/the Mind Sculptors and help us out here directly there as well. We have YouTube subscriptions are available now too. So, and you can get all the same, the access to the Discord and some other, I know for YouTube, it's like you'll get access to it like as soon as it's available. As soon as I upload it, if you're a member, you can immediately watch it. Forewarning, that could be as early as like a week in advance to the night before. So, but that is a thing that we do have offering that as well. So we appreciate all of that. With that being said, I'm Cal.
I'm Ian.
Stay sculpty, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.